Hello everyone and welcome to a new Castlevania Symphony of the Night Developer's Diary. The Royal Chapel demo is pretty much complete. I just need a little bit more time to work on it, so that should release next week. But this week I want to bring you the boss fight for that level. Any Patreon supporters can go over there and they can download the ROM just for the boss fight as a little taster. And then next week I'll release the demo, the actual level demo for everyone to play. What you're seeing on your screen right now, of course, is the original boss fight, and in common with lots of boss fights in Symphony of the Night, it's really easy. In fact, I think this may be the easiest boss fight in the game, because it's really easy to get her into this loop where she's breathing the fire at you. You just duck, hit her a few times, let her fire to the left, to the right, and then she'd always duck again. And you can see here, I've already killed her.
Impressive. You're very strong.
While it's nice that Maria was impressed, I think we all know that was really a piece of cake, so for my version I definitely want to make it more of a challenge. In order to do that, first I want to see what kind of attacks the boss had, so I played through it again, and instead of using my usual tactic, which is quite easy to pull off, I try to keep my distance. I thought, okay, when you get close to the boss, that's when she does the fire attack, but if I keep my distance a bit, then that will force her to do a different attack. But as you can see, it seems to confuse the boss a little bit because it doesn't really know what to do, and it's only when I get close that it finally attacks rather than just flying up and down and landing constantly. Right here you can see I finally managed to get it to do a different attack, this kind of running attack, which is still pretty easy to dodge, and straight after we get a third attack, this egg hatching attack. Once these eggs finally hatch, the birds, if they hit you, actually can hurt you, they can damage you, but I'm sure there's plenty of you watching this right now who have played the game maybe several times and have never seen these attacks before, because the boss normally goes down so quickly. As with any flying enemy, the axe is a good sub-weapon to have here, but as this boss is so easy anyway, you don't really need it. But even with the egg hatches, you can actually go up to the eggs before they hatch and destroy them very quickly, which is especially easy since all three of them are placed so close together. At this point I decided to deliberately run into the fire attack just to see if it triggered any kind of new action on part of the boss. It seemed to make the boss happy, because after that she did the fire attack about, I think, 6, 7, 8 times in a row, even though no one else attacking her. So I'm not sure what triggers they're using, which kind of AI they're using. Maybe if you don't damage the boss too much, maybe only strike it twice in between the flame attacks, it'll just keep doing it, rather than if you hit it 5 times. Or maybe there's some kind of probability going on behind the scenes, whether it does the fire attack again or whether it flies up. Personally, after going through this experience, I want to make sure that my version definitely didn't do this, because it can get a bit too easy, a bit too ridiculous. I think the boss should be able to work out at this point that this kind of attack isn't working. It's time to switch things up a bit and change tactics. Rather than have everyone watch through another 20 or so flame attacks, let's skip ahead a bit, and this time I decided to maybe go to the right to stand this little crevice away from the usual attacks and see what the boss did. So first we had this run attack, which wasn't very effective, but then we had this attack here, this kind of dive bombing attack, which before I did this analysis for the boss fight I'd never seen before while playing the game. If I continue to stand in the far right hand side, you can see after another rather useless flame attacks and a little bit of running, the boss will do that attack again. So I think maybe there's some kind of program in the AI where if you're too far after it finally realizes where I am, it should do this bullet attack, which can really hit you while you're standing by this door. It's funny to see the boss do like a dive down here and then realize, whoops, I'm not supposed to stand there, that's inside the wall, I need to move a bit to the left again. So I think in some way there must not be programming that lets the boss collide with the scenery as Alucard has, but there must be some kind of programming to say, whoops, you land in the wrong place there, please get away. And you can see there, despite letting it get all the other attacks in, I still managed to defeat it. So it still wasn't too difficult, even when I was trying to make it easy for the boss. But it gave me lots of material, this little testing, to take into my version of the game, so I could maybe change the attacks up a bit and see what I could do to make the boss fight more challenging for everyone. So let's now go and take a look at that Mega Drive version and see what I changed. Before even coding the new boss fight, first of all I wanted to improve the presentation of the boss fights overall. One of the things I like about the original was how when you enter the boss room, the music would cut off and then the gate will close behind you and then the boss music will start. Really gets you hyped up, and you can see that I've replicated that here. music track you're hearing there is called Guardian, and the Mega Drive version was done by Aliana. It was an exclusive track in the SotN version, so I think a lot of you are probably hearing it for the first time, but it's a really great one, so I'm really happy to include it in here. Although it has a lot of things wrong with it, I think the SotN does have some nice extra content, so I'm of course going to try and include as much of it as I can in my Mega Drive version. Just by watching a couple of minutes of this, you probably already noticed I've made quite a few changes to how the attacks work. So the bullet attack we saw before is an off-screen one. At the moment it follows the same pattern no matter where Alucard is in the screen, but I might eventually change it so that maybe it's randomized at which height the bullet comes across the screen. We also have this running one here. I've made it a little bit faster than the original to give it a bit more of a challenge. And we have the firing the egg one. Rather than landing the eggs in one specific pace in a very slow way, I made it so that the boss dropped the eggs while in flight, which I think it makes it a bit more interesting. It means there's 3 points you have to deal with, 3 different eggs in 3 different sections, so it can be a bit tricky. You have to make sure you keep up with it, although the Bible sub-weapon helps a lot with that. The boss itself works a combination of reacting to what Alucard is doing on the screen combined with probability. So you can see here I've probably maybe nerfed the fire breathing attack a little bit too much, but we're finally getting one here. But the difference with my one is that you can't duck it, so you have to literally move out of the way, because I thought that ducking the fire attack was a bit too easy and it meant you could get lots of cheap hits onto the boss, so I made it so you just had to back off away from the fire, otherwise you would get hit. I also wanted to make sure that no funny stuff would happen if you decided to camp out at the far right or far left of the screen, so I wanted to make sure that the boss didn't land in any funny places and make sure that you still get hit. So you can see both the bird attacks, the egg hatch attacks, and also the bullet attack can still get you when you're on the far right of the screen, and when you're far away from the boss it shouldn't do the fire attack. It should only do the fire attack when you're very close to it. It'll be interesting to see whether people think the boss fight is too easy or too hard. I have put a little death state in, so it fades to this kind of blood red when you die, and Alucard does a little death animation too. I'm going to work on that a bit more, but it'll be okay for now, I think. And of course I didn't want to just think of failure and death, I also wanted to think of victory. A little end boss victory jingle was missing from my previous efforts, so here it is here. Okay, so I think that will do for this video. Thanks so much for watching. If you're interested in this kind of content, don't forget to subscribe.
I'm interested in this.
And if you'd like to support my work further and get early previews on what I'm working on, then please support my Patreon.
You won't go unrewarded.
Until next time,
farewell.